Good evening everyone, welcome back to my channel, True Crime with Jess Rose, and tonight I'd like to look at, it's a case that I've watched on a few different programmes, three in particular, and the first time I seen this, it was actually in the same episode of When Kids Kill as the Angela Robertson case, which I did in the last video, and it was because these two, in this particular case, who are called Britain's youngest double murderers, they were given anonymity. Got it. If you see the last video, I'm very proud of myself there. They were given anonymity too. So they weren't named on the show. So you heard about the victims, but you didn't hear a lot about them because of the order that was, stopping anyone really talking about them. Since then, there's been a couple of shows, and the one I'd like to discuss tonight from that case is Britain's Deadliest Kids. And I'm just trying to work out how to start this. It's quite a hard one. We go back to April 15, 2016. And there's a lady by the name of Elizabeth Edwards, who's 49. Lovely lady, very part of the community. She worked at the local school, primary school. She volunteered at a charity shop. She did live in a rundown part of the area, but she was very driven and got involved in everything. She was a really, really good woman and, like I say, part of the community. Elizabeth had a daughter who was 13 called Katie Edwards, and again very popular at school, really close to her mum. Graham, who's on the show, was Elizabeth's boyfriend, and he said the relationship between them was lovely. Katie was a really bubbly, lovely girl. But on the 15th of April 2016, they're both reported missing. The school reports it originally to the police, and it wasn't Graham, because Graham says on the show him and Elizabeth had a bit of a row, and he thought she wasn't answering the phone, to kind of pay him back. She was just ignoring him. It was only 24 hours as well. It's not like he left it for days. It was 24 hours, but the school knew how conscientious Elizabeth was, and the fact that Katie wasn't in school either, they raised the alarm and phoned the police. So the police do go to Elizabeth's home and, knock on and stuff, and no answer, and they go away. So the next day, by this time, there's two other kids reported missing, and that is Kim Edwards, Elizabeth's other daughter, who's 14, and Lucas Markham, who is Kim's boyfriend, also 14. So the police have now three missing children and one missing adult, so four missing people. So they knock on the door again, and when they get no answer, I've seen it on a few different shows, and at one point they do say the police looked through the window and seen something, so they kick the door in. And when they get in to Elizabeth's home, the first thing they see is Kim and Craig Markham and Kim Edwards on a mattress on the living room floor watching TV. And the police are actually relieved, because this is two of the four missing people here. So, hopefully this is going to be okay. So when they ask Kim and Lucas, where's your mum and sister? Where's Katie and Elizabeth? Lucas says, go and have a look upstairs. And when the police get up there, both Elizabeth and Katie are dead in their beds. Their throats have been slit and they've been smothered, and each bedroom is said to have been covered in blood, everything. So the police go downstairs Kim and Lucas are still there. They haven't run, they haven't done anything. So they arrest them. They arrest them on the spot and bring them to the police station. Now, a little bit of history between Kim and Lucas. They met 2 years previous at school. Kim was actually, like her sister Katie, quite popular at school, quite bubbly. Lucas, on the other hand, it was said he was bullied, but he wasn't one to take that, and he would fight back. And Kim, seeing sort of what you would say a rebel, was attracted to Lucas, and they got together. Now, Kim, it said that when she was very young, Elizabeth was with Kim's dad. I think this could be before Katie came along. And he was very violent. He was a very violent man. And Kerry Nixon, who's a forensic psychologist on the show, has said that in the early stages of, a child's life, that would have been detrimental to Kim. So she'd seen violence as she'd been growing up, and then her mum had, tried to get by with the 2 children as best she could as a single mum. And it said that when Kim was young, I think she was about 9 or 10, her mum hit out at her. Now, I don't know to what extent. They don't really go into it in the show. Was it a smack for being naughty? Was it, a full-on hold it? I don't know, but it was enough for Kim to take herself to social services and report her mum. So Kim and Katie both got taken off Elizabeth for a period of time. Eventually she gets them back. She moves to Spalding in Lincolnshire from Scotland and starts a new life. And it's going well, but Kim's starting to go through her teenage stage, and she's a bit resentful of Elizabeth, believes that Elizabeth favours Katie over her. Very childlike problems to have, oh, you love my sister more than me, very childish, issues. So nothing serious at that time. Lucas Markham had a very rough upbringing too. His mum died when he was 4. He was passed around the care system, and eventually one of his extended family, which was an aunt, I believe, took him in. But Lucas, his friends say he's got a friend on the show who says, he was a bit odd. He was a bit of an odd boy. He did get bullied. It's kind of a shame, really, for what he's been through. But at the same time, himself was very into the more macabre side of life, I suppose you'd say. So, separate, although they've got their issues, possibly could have been worked out. Together, Kim and Lucas, not a good mix. Toxic relationship from the get-go. They started to believe it was them against the world. They stopped talking to anybody. It was just them in their little bubble. Kim started to lose all her friends. Her grades were dropping. It was really not a relationship you would want your daughter in. So Elizabeth does what any mum would do and steps in and says, look, this isn't right, this relationship. It doesn't work. So Elizabeth says, right, that's it. He's not invited to the house anymore. He's not welcome at the house anymore, which was, it's a really big kick in the teeth for Lucas. He took it as another rejection, and he started to become really resentful of Elizabeth, really resentful, to the point where he joked with Kim and said, I want to kill your mum. And due to her own childish growing resentment of her mum over feeling favoured over a sister was better and, loved more and feeling like an outcast of the family, she joked at first and she goes, oh yeah, go on. But the more he said it, he realised she was agreeing, and she's like, yeah, we should kill my mum. you know, I know teenage years you can become a bit rebellious and oh God, but come on, that's no. So they start to pursue this plan of killing Kim's mom, Elizabeth, all because she doesn't want them together. Yeah, So they're going through this plan, and instead they decide to run away together. I think they stayed away for 6 days. They were found, and it just made Elizabeth even more certain this boy is no good for you. No good for you. I'm putting my foot down. You can't come around there. I don't want you seeing him. He's no good. So Kim's resentment's growing. So on the night in question, which was April the 15th, 2016, Lucas and Kim had made a plan, and they planned it in McDonald's over a Happy Meal. This is where they planned her mother and her sister, don't forget her sister, they planned their murder in McDonald's over a Happy Meal. They are 40. And the plan was that Lucas was going to leave his house late at night, walk I think it's 3/4 of a mile, it's not far between the houses, but walk along the canal so he's not seen. So they're really giving it some thought. Knock on the bathroom window and Kim will let him in, and then they'll do what they need to do. This is what they come up with. Now, the first night they were deciding to carry out this plan, Kim fell asleep. She's planned to kill her mom, and she couldn't stay awake. Kerry Nixon, the forensic psychologist, does say there could have been a part of it that just didn't want to go through with it, because on the second night, it happens again. She falls asleep again, so the lads walked. However, not far again, but he's done it with knives in a bag, going down the canal, knocks on the window, she's asleep again. I mean, I don't know. As I'm telling the story, it's just beyond words. The third night, however, I think they both thought, it's now or never. We're not going to do it. So he does the walk, he knocks on the window, comes in through the window, and when he gets in, he says he had a knife and Kim had a knife. So he goes into the mom's room where she's asleep in bed, kind of, I'm so sorry, kind of straddles her, if you like, across the chest, and starts stabbing her. There's actually 8 stab wounds and 5 of them are to her arm, so she's tried to defend herself. She has tried to defend herself. I think she went to shave, and they'd researched how to slit someone's throat so you cut the voice box out so they can't scream. So he did that. So, so she couldn't scream, and then smothered her. And during this, Kim actually pops her head round the door, and not because she had second thoughts or, oh my God, just to make sure he was okay. Then she was supposed to with her knife, kill her sister. She couldn't do that. Passes in the knife. You go do that. Bear love. So he goes in. Again, same thing with Katie. She's 13. But I think it was just 2 stab wounds and smothering because she didn't put up a fight. He killed her pretty much straight away. And then, it's a real kicker, they have a bath together because Lucas didn't like the smell of blood. They have a bath together. They take out the mattress. Now, Kim and Katie shared a room. So they take out the mattress from the bedroom that Katie's in, where she's lying now dead, bring it downstairs, and they eat ice cream and pizza and watch Twilight for the next, I think it'd be 24 hours in their own little Bonnie and Clyde bubble. That's what they do. These two 14-year-olds, while her mum and her sister are dead upstairs. Now, they weren't sitting there waiting for the police as such, or waiting to be caught. There was pills there beside them. So the plan they made at McDonald's was to kill her mum and sister, but also to kill themselves. But they couldn't do that. Couldn't quite manage that. So when they get them to the police station, there are police tapes. Now, these are quite chilling. They really are. They appear on both shows. The other show this is on is called Murder by My Daughter. Again, very in-depth look at the case. And you hear the audio police tapes, and Kim's voice is just like she's talking about the weather or her day at school. Her tone doesn't change. She's not emotional. There's no feeling. She just says that she was okay with what happened because she was glad it was quick. Explained how they planned it, admitting that they'd been in McDonald's and they discussed it, that she'd gone in to look at Lucas because she wanted to make sure he was okay when he was killing her mum. And when asked, why, Katie, you've explained the hatred you had towards your mum, but why your sister? What did she do? And she said, well, I didn't want her mourning my mum and being upset that mum wasn't there anymore, so I thought she'd be better off. Lucas actually came forward with a bit more of a believable defence, and he said it's because she'd have called the police, she'd have grasped them. A little bit more believable than, well, I thought she'd be a bit upset about my mum, so I'd done her a favour. These two are just, they're not the brightest sparks, are they? I mean, come on. So, like I say, these two, there's a lot of talk about, did they have a mental illness? Both of them really, to do what they did in the way they did it, planning it the way they did it. There is talk of that. It's very unusual. There's talk that if they had never met, would they have done what they did? There's a lot of questions raised about these two, and I think that's why they were given anonymity at first. I think that's why, because they wanted to make sure that these weren't, I suppose, vulnerable children, if you can actually say that about these two. Was there that vulnerable side, where there was actually something majorly wrong. And basically, when they've been charged with murder, they confessed to what happened. It's on audio, it's on the police tape. So Lucas pleads guilty. He pleads guilty to murder. He knows his part. He holds his hands up. I'm not saying good on him. I'm just saying he doesn't try and fight it. Whereas Kim, on the other hand, pleads not guilty to murder, but to guilty of manslaughter under diminished responsibility. Now, not only would manslaughter give her a much lesser sentence, we know that, but diminished responsibility, her sentence would be reduced drastically. So she is looked at by two psychiatrists, I think, and the one for the defence says she has an attachment disorder, with what happened and the detachment she felt from her mum, so it's detachment order, from her mum, and the fact that her mum favoured her little sister. I mean, you can't use that as an excuse. You can't. My mum loved my sister more. Come on. It can't be used. And the prosecution obviously had experts themselves who were like, there's nothing wrong with this girl. She knows right from wrong. were not having it, so the charge was murder. It wasn't believed, it was murder. Plus, she showed no remorse. These police tapes were played in the court. They were played to the jury. And I can't explain it enough. I genuinely can't. You need to listen to the tapes. They're so cold. Both kids, both of them, they're so cold and detached. A matter of fact about what they did. And the fact they felt justified in it too, in a way, because Lucas, like I say, wasn't quite right, but he did have a friend on the show, and the friend he had on the show, it's very sad. 10 months before Elizabeth and Katie were killed, his dad was murdered only a few doors down from Katie, and some kids had been outside his house and had been kicking his fence, and he went out, as any one of us would. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Come on, lads, give it a rest. And they killed him. They beat him to death, but daring to mind that they were kicking his fence. And Lucas was there for this friend when this happened. You know, it seemed like he was his support while his friend was going through this. But then his friend started to notice that Lucas was asking more inappropriate questions rather than a caring, supportive friend questions. You know, how did they do it? Because, and what did they do? Because these lads, believe it or not, got away with it. They were never charged. There's been no charges brought for his dad's murder, which is absolutely awful. I don't know that case. I only heard about it on the show. But Lucas seemed fascinated by that they could do that with so many people knowing who they were and get away with it. So he thought he'd get away with it somehow. I don't get why he's sitting in the house where they're upstairs. He thought he'd get away. I don't know if he thought they could get away with it on mental health grounds or their age. I think just somewhere along the line, he was quite not right in that way to have that mentality like it'll be okay. We're going to settle through this. So the jury didn't agree, thank goodness. Kim was found guilty of murder, as is Lucas, and were both given life sentences with a minimum term of 20 years for both of them. And don't forget, they're only 14, so they'll be 34 coming out. But they appealed it, and they got it reduced to 17 and a half years. So obviously they'll be even younger when they get out, 36 and a half. You know, I don't agree. I don't agree. If they could do something so abhorrent, she let her mum be killed and her little sister. Her little sister, you're supposed to protect your siblings, younger or older. And to go along with that and enforce it, and then for him to do it and carry it out at such a young age, it's like Girl A and Girl B from the Angela Wrightson story. It's a real hard thing to answer. It really is. Do you believe in rehabilitation? And because they're so young, they can be changed so they're active, you know, contributing members of society? Or do you take that risk and let them out so they can do it again? I don't know. I don't know. It's scary because they are so young. But unlike Girl A and Girl B, if either of these two move next year, unless they change their names, you know, you're going to know they did lift the order. So we know who it was. And I think more to the point, they had to, because the time where they lived Spalding, I don't think it's huge. So, like I say, Elizabeth and Kate they were popular. People knew them, and people knew Kim and Lucas. So when, you know, it was released about Elizabeth and Katie, and then Kim and Lucas abroad, everyone knew. They knew who it was. They knew who killed them. So it was like putting a block on the whole town not to speak. And that's very hard. How do you stop a whole town not talking about who murdered two really lovely members of their community? So I think they had to release those details. Not 100%, yeah, but I think that could be it. But yeah, that's the story of Britain's youngest double murderers. 40. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. These stories are getting worse. Thank you for joining me again. If you've got an opinion on tonight's story or anything you'd like me to look at, please pop it in the comments. I'd love if you could subscribe. I'm really sorry about my lighting tonight. I didn't want to keep stopping, but I know it's reflecting off my glasses, so sorry about that. And my next video, I am getting a little bit of help, and the videos will still be unedited. You'll still hear my anonymity mess ups and stuff, but the next video will have an intro which will bring up the story I'm talking about. And also, I know some people don't really go into the links after the story, so I'm gonna get it so I've got little photos in the corner, so it's not going to be a screen jump from page to page or anything like that, because I don't like that. It'll just be in the corner, just so say if you're going into the link afterwards, if that's not something you really fancy doing, it will be there, but that will be the only change to the video. So that's why it's took me a bit of time to get this one up. I wanted to get this one up, and then hopefully the next one will be ready with the new intro. Real YouTuber here now, get my own intro and everything. But no, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you next time. Thank you.